Home, Satan and the jinn prophet Solomon, the devils, shayateen, magic, the angels Harut and Marut and Baabil, Babylon. Filed under Satan and the Jinn. Wednesday, February 24, 2010 by Abu Iyad. Key topics: Suleiman, Solomon, Harut, Marut, Temple of Solomon, Babylon, Baabil, Mystery Babylon. Mail to a friend, printer friendly. Claims regarding Prophet Suleiman. It is widespread amongst the Jews, Christians and the occultists that Prophet Suleiman, alayhi salam, practiced magic, and some of them consider him to be a magician and not a prophet. There are many other claims and associations made with respect to Suleiman, alayhi salam, which he is free of. In this article we want to clarify the Quranic treatment of this subject which absolves and exonerates Suleiman, alayhi salam, from the false things attributed to him. The Quran on Prophet Suleiman, the devils, magic and Babylon. First, the passage in the Quran on this subject. Allah, the Most High, said in Surah Al-Baqarah,
Walma jahum rasul min indallah musaddiq lama mahum nabaz fariq min azin, Allah wara zuhurihim Allah. Watbuama al-shayatin Allah. Wama al-shayatin. Yalmun al-nas al-sahir wama. Allah Baabil Harut wa Marut wa yalman min hata yakula nahin fitnat fala fatilmun minhuma ma yafirkun bay bayan wazwajih wa mahum bajarbin bay minhu Allah wa yatilmun ma yazrum wa la yanfahum walqad al-wala man ashtrahum wa la fi al-akhirat minhu ma sharu bay lawa.
And when there came to them a messenger from Allah, Muhammad, confirming what was with them, a party of those who were given the scripture threw away the book of Allah behind their backs as if they did not know. They followed what the shayateen, devils, gave out falsely of the magic in the lifetime of Suleiman, Solomon. Suleiman did not disbelieve, but the shayateen, devils, disbelieved, teaching men magic and such things that came down at Babylon to the two angels, Harut and Marut, but neither of these two angels taught anyone such things till they had said, We are only for trial, so disbelieve not by learning this magic from us. And from these angels people learn that by which they cause separation between man and his wife, but they could not thus harm anyone except by Allah's permission. And they learn that which harms them and profits them not. And indeed they knew that the buyers of it magic would have no share in the hereafter. And how bad indeed was that for which they sold their own selves, if they but knew. Al-Baqarah 2, 101-102. We can turn to the classical commentaries of Ibn Jarir at-Tabari and Ibn Kathir for the explanation of these verses, part by part, so what follows will be based upon these commentaries.
Walma jahum rasul min indallah musaddiq lama mahum nabaz fariq min azin, Allah wara zuhurihim Allah.
And when there came to them a messenger from Allah, Muhammad, confirming what was with them, a party of those who were given the scripture threw away the book of Allah behind their backs as if they did not know. Ibn Kathir explains that this refers to a faction amongst the Jews who threw the Torah behind their backs when they learned that the glad tidings of the prophethood Muhammad, alayhi salam, are found within it, and that they abandoned it as if they did not know that this knowledge was in it. Instead they resorted to magic, witchcraft, sorcery, and Ibn Kathir makes mention of Labaid bin al-Asam, the Jew who practiced witchcraft upon the Prophet, alayhi salam, with the use of a comb thrown into a well. At-Tabari explains likewise that this verse is in rebuke of the Jews who were in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salam, and rejected his prophethood despite knowing he was a messenger, and in rebuke of them not acting upon this knowledge which is in their hands, in the Torah, and their following of their ancestors who followed what the devils rehearsed to them in the kingship of Suleiman, of magic. This verse leads into the next one which continues on the subject of magic. The devils in the time of Suleiman. They followed what the shayateen, devils, gave out falsely of the magic in the lifetime of Suleiman, Solomon. At-Tabari brings narrations from Mujahid that the devils, shayateen, used to listen to the revelation in his time, and whenever they caught something of it, they added 200 other words like it. So Suleiman confiscated these books from them, and when Suleiman died, the devils found them and taught the people from them, which was magic. From Qatada, that this refers to soothsaying and magic, and that Allah mentions here that the devils innovated books in which there was magic, and then they spread it amongst the people and taught it to them. Ibn Abbas, that the devils in the time of Suleiman wrote books in which there was magic and disbelief, then they buried them under the throne of Suleiman, and later they brought them out and read them to the people. Magic was taught by the devils and Suleiman was free from it.
Wama al-shayatin yalmun al-nas al-sahir.
Suleiman did not disbelieve, but the shayateen, devils, disbelieved, teaching men magic. At-Tabari explains that in this verse that what Allah ascribed to the devils, the Jews ascribed to Suleiman, claiming that it was from his knowledge, and that he subjugated the men, jinn and devils, shayateen, and other creatures of Allah through magic. And on account of this belief of theirs they justified to the people their own actions in doing what Allah had made unlawful upon them of magic. And then they said that Sulayman was not a prophet but a magician, so Allah absolved Sulayman bin Dawud from magic and kufr against the claims made against him, and also declared as liars those justifying their practice of magic, and Allah exposed them in that they were simply following the magic that the devils rehearsed to them during the era of Sulayman. Ibn Kathir brings a narration, Muhammad bin Ishaq bin Yasar, that the devils wrote books on types of magic, after they knew of Sulayman's death, and so they wrote, whoever wishes to attain such and such, let him do such and such, and they put all of this into a book, and then placed a seal on it upon the seal of Prophet Sulayman and they wrote as its title, this is what Asif bin Barkia the friend of the king Sulayman wrote of the kept treasures of knowledge. Then they buried it beneath his throne. Later, some of the children of Israel found this book and they said, by Allah Sulayman's kingdom was not except by way of this magic. So they spread this magic amongst the people, they learned it and taught it, and magic is not found amongst anyone more than amongst the Jews. And At-Tabari brings a number of narrations. Ibn Hashab. He states similar to what was said by Ibn Ishaq above, and explains that the devils would write, whoever wants to arrive at such and such let him turn to the sun and let him say such and such. And whoever wants to be able to do such and such, let him face his back to the sun and let him say such and such. So they wrote the likes of this and put it in a book, and gave it the same title as mentioned by Ibn Ishaq above. Then they buried it under Sulayman's throne. When Sulayman died, Iblis stood as a khatib and said, O people, verily Sulayman was not a prophet, but he was a magician, so hold to his magic which is in his place of retreat and in his houses. Then he showed them the place in which it was buried, and when they found it they said, by Allah, Sulayman was a magician, and this is his magic, with it shall we worship, and through it shall we subdue others. However, the believers amongst those Jews said, rather, he was a prophet, a believer. Then, when Allah sent the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, he mentioned the prophets, until he mentioned Dawud and Sulayman, so the Jews said, look at Muhammad, mixing truth with falsehood, he is mentioning Sulayman along with the prophets, he was merely a magician who would carry the winds, so Allah revealed the verse, Sulayman did not disbelieve, but the shayateen devils disbelieved, teaching men magic. Sa'id bin Jubair, that Sulayman used to follow up what was in the hands of the devils of magic, and he took it from them and put it all under his throne in his treasure house. The devils were not able to reach it, so they came to the men and said, do you want the knowledge by which Sulayman used to subjugate the devils and the winds and other things? They said, yes, and so the devils directed them to the treasure house, under the throne. So the men found it and then began acting upon it. This false claim continued until the people of Hijaz said that Sulayman used to also practice this, and that this is magic. Then Allah, the Mighty and Majestic, revealed, upon the tongue of Muhammad alayhi salam, the exoneration of Sulayman from that. Qatada. The devils innovated a book in which there was magic and they spread it amongst the people teaching it to them. When Sulayman alayhi salam heard of it, he followed up those books, took them and buried them under his throne, hating that the people would learn from them. When Allah took Sulayman away, the devils took out those books from where they were and taught them to the people. They, the devils, said that this is the knowledge that Sulayman used to conceal and keep to himself. So Allah excused Sulayman and exonerated him, saying, Sulayman did not disbelieve, but the shayateen devils disbelieved, teaching men magic. Muhammad bin Ishaq, that the books they found after the death of Sulayman alayhi salam, they claim that it was a book revealed by Allah from Sulayman, which Sulayman kept hidden from them, so they took it and made it into their religion. What happened was that the people fell into two groups. The first, those amongst the believers who knew magic was kufr and unlawful, and so they reviled Sulayman alayhi salam out of their wrong belief that he practiced magic, and some of them denied he was a prophet. The second, another group who held that since Sulayman was a prophet and he practiced magic, as they were misled to believe by the devils, then they considered it permissible to indulge in magic, so they took that as a religion to be followed, and this is what characterized these people from that time until the time of Prophet Jesus alayhi salam, through to the time of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, right until this day of ours. Note here that in this verse Allah is referring to the Jews contemporary to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is an indication that they continued upon that magic that the devils rehearsed to the people in the time of Sulayman in the 10th century BC. In this verse Allah is clearing Sulayman from that false accusation and recounting the historical facts and realities. In the 6th century BC, Nebuchadnezzar, the Chaldean king of Babylon, Baabil, conquered Judah, the Jews, Bani Israel, and put them into exile. When these Jews came to Babylon, in addition to the magic they had learned from the devils, they also learned of the magic at Baabil, part of which came to the people through the angels Harut and Marut. Baabil was a center of occult science, and it was the place of the Chaldeans who were star and planet worshippers. Whilst in captivity in Baabil, Babylon, Jewish priests, after looking into and studying the mystery religion of those Babylonians, developed their own sophisticated form of occultism. The occult knowledge and codified magic practiced by the Jews historically and today is known as the Kabbalah, also spelt Kabbalah and referred to as Jewish mysticism, or Jewish esoteric knowledge. It is essentially and in reality a coded system of magic, of invoking the jinn and angels, as they believe, through words, numbers, symbols, geometry and so on. Also, the word Kabbalah is from the Hebrew root qbl, to receive, and it is similar to the Arabic root of kaf, ba, lam, to receive. It means to receive mystical knowledge, or secret teaching, and it is expressed diagrammatically through what is called the tree of life. It would be a real good idea to read this article here to make some important connections. The Kabbalah was transmitted orally and secretly through the centuries and was written down in the Christian era. What was written is not the entire Kabbalah but just the rudiments of it. The essence, core and reality of the Kabbalah is only ever passed on through oral tradition and with conditions. It continued to be transmitted through the ages, picking up elements from other beliefs right to this day, and has been and still is behind the esoteric doctrines of most secret orders and sects. Iblis and his offspring the jinn have continued to deceive people into believing that there is immortality through secret esoteric knowledge, and that the practitioners of these esoteric mystery religions of Babylon and Egypt, magic and devil worship, can become angels and live forever. These people consider themselves illuminated, and the rest of mankind as gullible, incapable, unfit, inferior people who must be hemmed in and ruled over. Babylon and the two angels Harut and Marut. And such things that came down at Babylon to the two angels, Harut and Marut, but neither of these two angels taught anyone such things till they had said, "We are only for trial, so disbelieve not by learning this magic from us." Babylon, Baabil. Babel is a region just south of Baghdad in Iraq, and it was the place of Nimrod, who is said by at-Tabari and other sources to have built the Tower of Babel, and the place of the Chaldeans and Assyrians and the Sabaean planet worshippers. It became a center of much learning, especially magic and astrology. Magic was integral to the functioning of the society. It should be noted that place names are not generally mentioned in the Quran in relation to past events. And there are only a few that are mentioned, such as Midian, Aram, Baabil, so the mention of Baabil in particular has significance, and as we shall see, the verse we are discussing is extremely accurate in characterizing those Jews who simply followed the magic rehearsed to them by the devils in the time of Sulayman alayhis salam, and what they took from Babylon, and which they incorporated into the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud. At-Tabari brings numerous narrations, as Sudi, that this was another type of magic by which they, the Jews, disputed with him, Muhammad, through what was revealed upon the two angels, and that the speech of the angels between themselves, when it is taught to the men, crafted and acted upon, it is magic. Qatada. Magic is of two types, the magic taught by the devils, and the magic taught by Harut and Marut. Ibn Zayd. The devils and the two angels teaching the people magic. At-Tabari explains, so the meaning of the verse upon the explanation of this saying which we have mentioned from those whom we have mentioned it from is, that the Jews followed that magic which the devils rehearsed to them during the lifetime of Sulayman, which was that magic sent down upon the two angels at Baabil, Babylon, Harut and Marut, and they are two angels from the angels of Allah. And he says, indeed Allah, the mighty and majestic, sent down all the good and the evil, and he explained all of that to his servants, and he inspired his messengers with revelation, and ordered them to teach his creation and to distinguish for them what is lawful from what is unlawful, such as fornication, adultery, stealing, and all the sins which they, the prophets, informed them about and prohibited them from committing them. So magic is one of those sins which he informed them of and prohibited them from acting upon. Then At-Tabari mentions an alternative reading of the verse. So the explanation of the verse upon this saying is, and they followed the magic that the devils rehearsed in the lifetime of Sulayman, and that magic of the separation between a man and his wife which was revealed upon the two angels at Baabil, Harut and Marut. And he brings in this regard, Mujahid, as for magic, then the devils taught it, and as for what the angels taught, then it is separation between a man and his wife, as Allah the Most High said. Then at-Tabari brings about 10 or so narrations from the early commentators regarding the two angels, and we will bring the information from those narrations together here. Ibn Abbas, Allah opened up the heavens so that the angels could look at the actions of sons of Adam. Ar-Rabi, when the people after Adam fell into what they fell into of sins and disbelief in Allah, the angels in the heavens said, O Lord, this world, you created them for your worship and obedience, but they have fallen into disbelief, killing the unlawful soul, eating unlawful wealth, stealing and fornicating, and drinking intoxicant, and so they began to supplicate against them, and did not make excuse for them. Mujahid, for the angels became surprised at the oppression of the sons of Adam, and there had come to them messengers and books and clear proofs. Ibn Abbas, the angels said, O Lord, those children of Adam whom you created with your own hand, and to which you made the angels prostrate, and to whom you taught all the names of all things, they commit sins. Ibn Masud, the angels supplicated against them, and against the earth, heaven and mountains, saying, O Lord, will you not destroy them? Ibn Abbas, so Allah said that if you were in their place you would have done actions just like theirs. Ibn Masud, so Allah revealed to the angels, if I sent down the lust, desire, shahwa, and the devils upon your hearts, and you descended to the earth, you would have done the same also. And so the angels conversed amongst themselves that if they were put to trial they would remain firm. Ibn Abbas, the angels, said, Subhanallah, this is not something befitting for us to do. So they were ordered to choose from amongst them who would be sent down to the earth, so they chose Harut and Marut. As Sudi, Harut and Marut reviled the people of the earth for their judgments Akam, and it was said to them that the son of Adam was given 10 desires by which they disobey Allah. And Harut and Marut said that if these desires were given to them, and were then sent down to the earth they would have judged with and abided by justice. So Allah said, Descend, I have given you both those 10 desires, so judge amongst the people with justice. Ibn Abbas, they were sent down to the earth and everything was made lawful for them on the earth except that they should not associate partners with Allah in worship, and nor steal, and nor fornicate, and nor drink intoxicants and nor kill a soul that Allah had made unlawful except with due right. So they continued upon the earth until they came across a woman given half of beauty, called Bidukt. As Sudi, she came to them regarding a dispute with her husband. Ibn Abbas, when they saw her, they desired to commit zina with her. She said, not unless you worship others alongside Allah, and drink intoxicants and kill a soul and prostrate to this idol. So they said, we do not associate anything with Allah in worship. Ar-Rabi, when she saw that they refused to worship the idol, she said to them that you must choose one of these three, either worship the idol, kill a soul or drink intoxicants. Ibn Abbas, so one of the angels said to the other, go back to her, and she said, no, unless you drink intoxicants, so they did until they were intoxicated. Then a man came upon them and saw them, Ar-Rabi, so they feared that he might divulge this, their being intoxicated. Ibn Abbas, so they killed him. When they fell into this evil, Allah opened the heaven for his angels, and they said, Subhanaka, you are most knowledgeable. Ar-Rabi, when the angels saw what these two angels had fallen into, they were very surprised. And so they began to seek forgiveness for those in the earth after this. Then it was said to them to choose the punishment of the world or that of the hereafter, so they said to themselves that the punishment of the world expires but the punishment of the hereafter never ends. So they chose the punishment of the world, and so they were placed in Baabil, Babylon, and they are punished there. Mujahid, they were ordered to go to Baabil, where their punishment was to be given. As Sudi, so they were restrained in Baabil where they began speaking to the people with their speech which was magic. Ibn Kathir, after mentioning many of these narrations in his tafsir of this verse explains that the story of Harut and Marut has been narrated from a group amongst the Tabi'in, such as Mujahid, as Sudi, Al-Hasan al-Basri, Qatada, Abu al-Aliyah, as Zuhri, Ar-Rabi, bin Anas, Muqatil bin Hayyan and others. And that a portion of the Mufassirin exegetes from the earlier and later ones have also reported them. And that the contents of them go back to the narrations that come from Bani Israel, since there is no authentic, connected hadith, ascribed to the truthful, the believed, the infallible, who does not speak of his own desire, the Prophet alayhi salam, and that the report in the Quran is given generally, without detail, and that we believe in what Allah has related in the Quran upon what Allah intended by it, and Allah knows best about the reality. Harut and Marut and the tribulation of magic. But neither of these two angels taught anyone such things till they had said, we are only for trial, so disbelieve not by learning this magic from us. At-Tabari brings narrations. Qatada and Al-Hasan. A covenant was taken from them that they would not teach anyone until they said, "We are a tribulation, so do not disbelieve." Ibn Jurayj. A covenant was taken from them but that they do not teach anyone until they say, "We are a tribulation, so do not disbelieve." No one ventures into magic except a disbeliever. At-Tabari explains that the tribulation, fitna, is a trial, an examination, a test. Learning what separates a man from his wife. And from these angels people learn that by which they cause separation between man and his wife. At-Tabari explains, the meaning of the speech is that the angels would not teach anyone until they said they are a tribulation, but the people would refuse to accept this and proceed to learn from them what would separate a man from his wife. And this type of magic occurs when a man or woman is made to imagine things about the spouse that which is not real, so he may see her as very ugly, or may perceive unbearable smells, and things of this nature, which are not real, but they are only in his own mind, so he is made to imagine things that are not real. This is from the type of magic that is called imaginary. At-Tabari brings a narration. Qatada. The separation of them, husband and wife, is that he would bewitch each one from its partner, and cause each one of them to hate their partner. Benefit and harm lies only with Allah and with His permission and decree.
وَمَهُمْ بَجَابِينَ بِهِ Allah.
But they could not thus harm anyone except by Allah's permission. At-Tabari comments, those who learned from the two angels, Harut and Marut, that by which they separate between a man and his wife, were not able to harm anyone with what they learned from them both, the angels through which they tried to separate between a man and his wife in relation to anyone amongst the people, except for the one whom Allah had already decreed that such magic will harm him. As for the one for whom Allah has repelled its harm, and guarded him from the disliked magic, and blowing on knots and spells, incantations, then that will not harm him and its harm will not reach him. And he brings a narration. Sufyan at-Tawri regarding his saying, but they could not thus harm anyone except by Allah's permission, he said, by the qada ordainment, decree of Allah. And the qada ordainment, decree here refers to the qada al-Kani, that which relates to all the occurrences in the creation, both good and evil, whilst noting that evil exists only within the occurrences in the creation and not in Allah's actions of decreeing them and bringing them into existence, since in Allah's actions are nothing but wisdom and justice, and they have a far-reaching purpose and lofty goals, tied to His wisdom and justice. Magicians only learn what harms them. And they learn that which harms them and profits them not. At-Tabari says, they learn from them the magic which harms them in their religion, and it does not benefit them in their hereafter. As for this life in the world, then they used to earn through it and acquire a means of living through it. The practitioners of magic have no share in the hereafter.
وَلْقَدْ أَلْمُوا لَمَنْ أَشْتَرَاهُ وَلَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْهُ.
And indeed they knew that the buyers of it magic would have no share in the hereafter. At-Tabari brings narrations. Qatada. The people of the book knew that from the covenant that Allah took from them that the sorcerer will have no share on the day of judgment with Allah. As Sudi, meaning the Jews, he says that the Jews already know that whoever learned it or chose it, he would have no share in the hereafter. Mujahid. For the one who purchased the knowledge of what separates a man from his wife. Ibn Zayd. The Jews knew that in the book of Allah, in the Torah, that whoever purchased magic and abandoned the deen of Allah, he will not have any share in the hereafter and so the fire is his destination. And At-Tabari explains that this is in reference to the Jews at the time of Muhammad alayhi salam, for they knew from their own book, the Torah, these facts as occurs in the above narrations, but despite knowing this they continued to follow the magic rehearsed at the time of Sulayman by the devils and the magic revealed by Harut and Marut to the people at Baabil, Babylon, and they essentially threw the Torah behind their backs, even after knowing the Muhammad was mentioned therein. As for buying, purchasing, mentioned in the verse, Sheikh Salih al-Ash Sheikh says in explanation of the verse, as occurs in his explanation of Kitab ut-Tawhid on the chapter on magic. And the magician he has purchased the learning of magic, he has purchased what thing? He has purchased magic in place of what thing? In place of Tawhid, so the price is Tawhid, the price is faith in Allah alone, and the object being bought, as magic, so it means the one who gave his religion as consideration, something of value, for that thing which he took, which is magic. And there are numerous views on the meaning of kulak, such as nasib, portion, share, part, or hujjah, proof, meaning such a one has no proof on the day of judgment, or deen, religion, meaning that such a one has no deen. But At-Tabari says what is most correct is that it means nasib, that such a one will have no share in the hereafter. At-Tabari then says, he means that such a one will have no share of reward and recompense, jaza, thawab, or paradise, besides his share of the hellfire. He means that they have no share of good deeds, as for evil deeds then they have their share of them. Magicians sell their souls. And how bad indeed was that for which they sold their own selves, if they but knew. At-Tabari says, so he informed about them that they knew that whoever purchased of magic, that he would have no share in the hereafter, and he described them that they commit disobedience to Allah, out of full knowledge of it, and they disbelieve in Allah and His messengers, and they prefer following the devils and acting upon what they have introduced of magic over His book, His inspiration and His revelation, out of stubborn opposition on their behalf and transgression against His messengers, and transgressing His limits, and with their full knowledge of the punishment that lies for them with Allah for whoever does that. And in clarification of Allah first affirming knowledge for them and then negating knowledge from in the end of this verse, At-Tabari says, Allah negated knowledge from them by saying, if they but knew, after He had described them that they knew, by saying, and indeed they knew, for the reason that they did not act upon what they knew. And the alim, scholar, is the one who acts upon his knowledge. When his action opposes his knowledge, then he falls amongst the meanings of the ignorant. Also refer to this article on how a person becomes a magician and when the jinn are ready to serve the magicians. Ibrahim, King Nimrod and Babylon. We mentioned earlier that the Quran does not generally make specific mention of place names when imparting lessons in morals and admonitions through the recounting of history. However, specific mention was made of Baabil, Babylon, in relation to magic and the exoneration of Sulayman from magic. In this section we bring some background information about Baabil, Babylon. You should recall that in the time of Noah, the people turned away from the worship of Allah to the worship of others, to venerating and worshipping the righteous dead. After the flood, the offspring of Noah spread through the earth, and a few generations later a tyrant appeared by the name of Nimrod. He was a descendant of Noah by 4 generations, who revived and continued the rebellion against Allah, the Most High.
ترى الذي هاج في ربه آتاه الله قال ربي الذي ويميت قال الله من بها من فبهت الذي والله لا الجالمين.
Have you not looked at him who disputed with Abraham about his Lord Allah, because Allah had given him the kingdom? When Abraham said to him, my Lord Allah is he who gives life and causes death. He said, I give life and cause death. Abraham said, verily, Allah causes the sun to rise from the east, then cause it you to rise from the west. So the disbeliever was utterly defeated. And Allah guides not the people, who are wrongdoers. Al-Baqarah 2, 258. At-Tabari says that this is a tyrant from Babylon called Nimrod, the son of Canaan, the son of Cush, the son of Sam, the son of Noah. And he brings narrations regarding who this king was. Mujahid, it is Nimrod the son of Canaan. Qatada, we used to discuss that it was a king called Nimrod, and he was the first king that was tyrannical upon the earth, and he is the builder of the tower at Babylon. Qatada, his name is Nimrod, and he is the first king that was tyrannical upon the earth, and he disputed with Ibrahim regarding his Lord. Rabi, it has been mentioned to us that the one who argued with Ibrahim regarding his Lord was a king called Nimrod, and he is the first tyrant that was tyrannical upon the earth, and he is the builder of the tower of Babylon. Ibn Jurayj, Abdullah bin Kathir informed me that he heard Mujahid say, he is Nimrod. Ibn Jurayj, he is Nimrod, and it is said he is the first king on the earth. And At-Tabari also brings narrations from the early commentators explaining the dispute between Ibrahim alayhi salam and Nimrod, in that Nimrod claimed that he could bring forth 2 men, kill one and leave the other, thus proving that he gives life and takes life, and he also claimed he can take 4 people, feed 2 of them and starve the other 2, thus having control over life and death. So Ibrahim confounded him by asking him to make the sun rise from the west instead of the east, and thus was Nimrod defeated in argument. Shaykh ul-Islam ibn Taymiyyah says in Al-Hamawiyya p. 13, Dar al-Kutub al-Ilmiyya, whilst discussing the origins of the negation of Allah being above the heaven, above his throne. The first of when this saying was manifested was from al-Jada bin Dirham, and al-Jam bin Safwan took it from him, and he proclaimed, and the saying of the Jamiyah was attributed to him thereafter. And it has been said that al-Jade took his saying from Aban bin Sam'an. And Aban took it from Talat, the nephew of Labaid bin al-Asam. And Talat took it from Labaid bin al-Asam, the Jew sorcerer who put magic upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and al-Jade bin Dirham, in what has been said, was from the land of Haran, and there used to be amongst them a great portion of the Sabaeans and philosophers from the remnants of the religion of Nimrod, and the Canaanites, and some of the later ones authored works on the magic sihr of those people, and Nimrod as the king of the Chaldean Sabaean pagans. And Ibn Taymiyyah also says in Majmu' al-Fatawa 35-195. For Nimrod bin Canaan was the king of those star and planet worshippers, and the scholars of the Sabaeans were the astrologers and their likes. And have idols been worshipped overwhelmingly except on account of the viewpoint teaching of this vile faction who consume the wealth of people in falsehood and hinder others from the path of Allah. So it is clear that the legacy of Nimrod and his people was one of astrology, star and planet worship, magic, and arrogance towards Allah's authority and dominion over the universe. After his death, Nimrod became deified and worshipped in different nations through a certain mythology involving the sun, which denotes birth and rebirth, rising and setting of the sun, through different names such as Baal, Adonis, Dionysus, Bacchus. Around the same era as Nimrod, a similar mythology appeared out of Egypt in relation to Osiris, a sun god, and Horus, Osiris reborn in his son, Horus, giving the birth, rebirth doctrine. This mythology features very heavily in magic and the occult right until this day, and it is behind the belief of reaching immortality, or becoming angels, through successive cycles of birth and rebirth. Please refer to this article for related information on how Iblis caused Adam to err through these types of promises. The whispering of Iblis, Satan, to Adam with 4 matters, see here. This subject will be expounded upon in other articles inshallah. Link to this article. Show, HTML link, full link, short link. Related articles. Prophet Solomon, the devils, Shayatin, magic, the angels Harut and Marut and Baabil, Babylon. Add a comment. Comments are currently moderated. You must be registered and logged into comment. Latest articles by Talbis al-Dajajila. How and why hijab and co-conspirators malign and slander people of the Sunnah while defending and lauding the people of innovation and misguidance. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Distinction between illusionary tricks involving deception and those involving the devils. Part 2. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Distinction between illusionary tricks involving deception and those involving the devils. Part 1. Shaykh Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymin. Clarification on issues pertaining to magic sihr, an explanation of the intent behind the prescribed punishment. Refutation of the attempt of Kamal al-Mekki of Al-Maghrib Institute to distinguish between the meaning entering into the term magic and in the meaning of the term sorcery. Shaykh Ibn Baz on magic being major kufr, the types of this magic, and an explanation of the magic known as takmir and removal of a misconception. Shaykh Ibn al-Uthaymin. Sikr Takili, illusionary magic, is true and real and has an actual effect. Shaykh Abdul Aziz al-Rajihaye on the types of magic and consensus amongst the scholars about the magic which expels from ilm. Shaykh Salih al-Shaykh on the classification of magic into types that vary in definition, reality and ruling. Shaykh al-Sadi. Magic enters into shirk from 2 angles. Search this site. Most popular. Prophet Solomon, the devils, Shayatin, magic, the angels Harut and Marut and Baabil, Babylon. Islamic ruqya for warding off the devils and the magic of the magicians from the Qur'an's role of television in social engineering, predictive programming, culture creation and destruction of children and society. Some of the signs of magicians, sorcerers, and how to identify them. The Dajjal, Antichrist, will appear after 70,000 from Bani Ishaq, children of Isaac, conquer Constantinople. The whispering of Iblis, Satan, to Adam with 4 matters. What a man or woman must do to become a magician, Sahir, on the various types of magic, why it enters into shirk, and a warning against Kamal al-Mekki's enticement of Muslims to watch the tricks of the magicians. Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan. Appearance of the Dajjal is near. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Distinction between illusionary tricks involving deception and those involving the devils. Part 1. Tagsadam al-Jibt al-Maghrib Institute. Antichrist at Taghut Baabil, Babylon. Bani Ishaq. Capitalism, communism, Constantinople. Dajjal, Eve, Frankists, Freemasonry, Freemasons, Garden of Eden, globalism, Green Lane Mosque, Harut, Iblis, Illuminati, incantation, Islamic ruling on magic, Jinn, Kamal al-Mekki, Marut, Muhammad, hijab, mystery, Babylon, New Age, spirituality, paradise, Kabbalah, Qadianus, Rafida, Rafidi, Shia, Romans, Ruqya, Sabbatians, Satan, socialism, Solomon, Sufia, Sufis, Sufia, Suleiman, Temple of Solomon, Zionists. Archives, March 2025, February 2025. January 2025, December 2024, November 2024, October 2024, September 2024, August 2024, July 2024, June 2024, May 2024, April 2024, March 2024, February 2024, January 2024, December 2023, November 2023, October 2023, September 2023, August 2023, July 2023, June 2023, May 2023, April 2023, March 2023, February 2023, January 2023, December 2022, November 2022, October 2022, September 2022, August 2022, July 2022, June 2022, May 2022, April 2022, March 2022, February 2022, January 2022, December 2021, November 2021, October 2021, September 2021, August 2021, July 2021, June 2021, May 2021, April 2021, March 2021, February 2021, January 2021, December 2020, November 2020, October 2020, September 2020, August 2020, July 2020, June 2020, May 2020, April 2020, March 2020, February 2020, January 2020, December 2019, November 2019, October 2019, September 2019, August 2019, July 2019, June 2019, May 2019, April 2019, March 2019, February 2019, January 2019, December 2018, November 2018, October 2018, September 2018, August 2018, July 2018, June 2018, May 2018, April 2018, March 2018, February 2018, January 2018, December 2017, November 2017, October 2017, September 2017, August 2017, July 2017, June 2017, May 2017, April 2017, March 2017, February 2017, January 2017, December 2016. Copyright Dajjal.com. All rights reserved. The Dajjal Antichrist is the one-eyed liar. Sorcerers, magicians are the worshippers of the devils. Learn Arabic. Com.